Brothers and the occasional sister joining us today, look at this monster. I got this about 15 years ago. This is a wild boar skull, and you can't tell me these are something that's not dangerous. They are. They're omnivore. They'll eat anything. They eat their own. They eat meat. They eat berries. They eat roots. Whatever they can find. Introduced into New Zealand by Captain Cook originally, I think, but correct me if I'm wrong. The Polynesians also brought some over, but I think Captain Cook brought the first ones into the country, and then they got sort of mixed up with other breeds, like domestic breeds like long race and Duroc, large white. So this one here, I got this up the spooners with my dog Chum, and looking at the teeth, aging it, it's probably around about 6 years old. It's quite an older one. They don't get much older than that, looking at the teeth, but he's in good nick, and he was in good nick. Okay, I want to show you a dog skull to give you an idea. Now this is a skull of a dog I found in the forestry. Actually found the whole dog. Someone I think had shot it because it's got a hole in its skull. I don't know if I can hold this up or not. Here we go. Here's the little dog skull here, and that would be a sort of average size. You can get an idea. One of his canines has come out. You can see where they've been blown away on that side. That's a bullet hole there. But look at the difference in size. That's the difference, and that's what we're hunting with. We're hunting with dogs, and that would be average size dog. So the dog's really got a job to do. Now, I've come under a huge amount of fire on my other channel, Clay Tool Stories, which is my main channel, because I hunt these and because I've shown the nature of how we hunt them, which is with dog and knife. The dog smells the pig, it bails it up, and we go in there and we hold it and we wrestle it. We either tip it upside down. In the case of this guy here, I side stuck it. It's not the biggest pig I've had. I've had 180. I haven't caught many big pigs in my life. A lot of guys have caught a lot bigger, but these pigs, they are fighting for their life, and they are absolutely ferocious when they're going for it. Their tusks inflict huge damage. It's like it's got two sharp, razor sharp knives on the front. You can even cut your finger on that without it doing anything. And you think about it, you've got this big animal, it's got this big fuck off neck that they use for rooting the ground all day long. They're using that exercise in their neck. So this motion here, which is up, gets underneath your dog and it kills the dog. I've seen a bloke get his thumb bitten off with them, but they also do huge damage to our hunting dogs. People have been killed by them, they've been seriously injured by them, but it's mostly our dogs that come unstuck, and that's why we run vests on our dogs. Now, I've come under huge fire too from a number of different groups for hunting these. Needless to say that they haven't got a clue what they're talking about, because there's nothing that naturally predates on wild pigs in New Zealand. This is not their natural environment. They were introduced here. They've made it become their natural environment, and in doing so, they've wreaked absolute havoc on our fauna, our native species, and also our domestic livestock. They'll think nothing to go and rip the belly out of a ewe just to eat her liver or kidneys, or to drink the milk out of her udder while she's got babies, and they'll kill lambs hand over fist. They are ferocious. They destroy a lot of our precious native species like the paraphantus snail. They'll eat them up, and eggs of any ground birds that lay their eggs, if it's a kiwi or a weka. Yet I can't show on my channel how we hunt these and also what we do with the meat. I can't even showcase how we gut them and field dress them or take them home and dress them out. Just can't show that anymore, because for some reason it's deemed, well, it doesn't fit within the guidelines of YouTube. And maybe it's because the advertisers don't want to know the reality of it. But people that are against people that hunt don't realise that it's us, the hunters, that are the regulators. We are the ones that are setting a little bit of, and I say a little bit tentatively, a little bit of balance in nature, because there's nothing that predates on these animals in our country, New Zealand. They're an introduced species. If we didn't do it, they would move closer and closer to the cities, and eventually we'd have them going through the streets, and people would be at risk, and there'd be huge damage to our horticulture, our vegetable gardens, our livestock, because they're beasts. I mean, if you think about it, look at the size of the head of this guy. This is only like a 6-year-old animal. Look at it compared to my head. How quickly they grow and how big they get. Now, what determines how many babies a pig has in the wild is the food source. So if she's in a place where there's been a lot of hunting pressure, then what happens is the food source bounces back, because the pig numbers are brought under control by the hunter. So what this does is it makes the sow fat. it puts on a layer of fat. And it's that fat and that nutrition she's getting that determines how many babies she throws. A sow that's living hard, say, in a place where there's not a lot of food source around, she might throw 3 or 4 piglets. But if she's got a really big food source, she could have as much as 14 piglets. And if there's a food source available to her that's plentiful, those piglets will pretty much all survive because she'll be feeding them and she will be looking after them. Often mother pigs will have their babies under a flax bush or somewhere where they can't get wet because it's water that they just don't handle very well in the first few weeks of their birth, but they are tough. I have found piglets in the bush that have had their mothers killed and they've just had a belly full of dirt and they've been just a few days old and they're already starting to eat the forest floor, dig up, get roots, because they survive and they will survive. But they've got to be kept under control. So I'm helping a young fella out right now, young Lucas McDukas. I'm helping him out with his YouTube channel because he likes to hunt. And he's had already, I think, 2 channels. Well, his TikTok's been taken down, I think, twice. And also his YouTube channel deleted. And a lot of channels have been deleted. I believe Hogs and Quads is gone now. The Australian pig hunting channel had 120,000 subscribers. So don't quote me on that. There's something around that. A few anyway. A lot of other guys are getting warnings. And I've got videos that have been taken down and I've had warnings. And YouTube are now just deleting channels because hunters are showing what we do. Now, I can completely understand the hunter that's standing there with dogs swinging off a pig and he's not dispatching it straight away, which is inhumane. That shouldn't be shown. Or people with a pig in a pen training dogs definitely shouldn't be shown and shouldn't be done for that matter either. It's cruel and inhumane. An animal doesn't stand a chance. But the hunter that goes out and dogs a pig, dispatches it as quickly as he can with his knife, and then showcases the whole procedure for young hunters growing up to see how it's done. The sticking, how to stick it correctly, the throating, the arseholing, taking the guts out, how you carry it, taking it home, how you skin it and break down the meat, and then you make it into a meal. To me, that there is a natural process, which us men particularly, but not all, there's a few women doing it too, and some women doing it better than some men too out there, I'll tell you. That's a process which is natural. Whether you're a meat eater or not, you can still do it. It's good for the biodiversity of our country. And if we don't do it, you know what the alternative is. It's bombing the animals with 1080, or worse still, introducing something like foot and mouth and coming up with a vaccine for domestic stock so they're vaccinated against foot and mouth and all our wild species die, because the previous government in New Zealand did not, they wanted to be done of all introduced species by 2050. Now I think this new government, national, and don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure that they're going to now start looking at tar and goats and pigs and all those species as a food source, or they're going to put them into a different category than just pests, which they should be done. They should be managed. They should be managed, but they shouldn't be completely eradicated. Well, I don't think they should anyway. If you're somebody who's completely 100% for all the native species and plants and lichens and frogs and lizards and everything in New Zealand, I understand that and I get that, particularly the birds, but I don't believe we are ever going to get that done, mostly because rats will always be here. They'll be here, we're gone. Those things will survive fucking anything. They'll be here. They're like cockroaches, they're never going to go. And for that matter, pigs are opportunist feeders that will always find a bit of private land to hide on, so they're never really going to get rid of them, I don't believe. But who can really say what's going to happen, because there's also environmental things that impact on animals, like weather change, weather patterns, and viruses that come through. I mean, let's look at the farmers down south. They tried to control the rabbits with Kalesi's virus. They introduced it, and every year we still have rabbits. They get the numbers down a little bit, and then they build these mutations where the younger ones live. We get that go through here, but there's still rabbits here today. We still hunt them, we still cook them up and eat them. So I don't think they're ever going to really get rid of those species. Anyway, your wild pig, your wild boar is a ferocious animal. And I hate catching big boars like that if I can't get there quick. If I see like 2 gullies over and I know I can't get there and I can see the mark on the road and I'm chasing it, I'm worried, because I know these will kill my dogs. And I've paid hundreds of dollars over the years. I don't want my dogs to get hurt, but that's part of the nature of catching them with dogs. And the dogs love it. It's natural to them. They're like wolves. The DNA of a dog is from his nose through to his bum is 0.2% different to a wolf overall. So virtually the same as a wolf. So your good old dog, he's basically a wolf. He's out there with his canine teeth. I mean, look at those teeth there. And he's out there working as a pack animal, trying to catch the beast for his master. Actually, he's just doing it out of complete, absolute primal nature. It's absolutely natural for him to do that. And getting your dogs onto pigs can be a real exciting way, because you're running, trying to keep up, and you're trying to get there, and you know they've got them stopped, and you're trying to get there, and you're in the zone. And it's such a healthy thing for men to do, and women, but this is a channel for men, so I'm saying for men. It's such a healthy thing to do, to be like going hard out, breathing, and you're exhausted, your lactic acid's building up in your legs and your arms, and you just can't go any further, but you've got to, because you know the dogs are doing battle, and it's still another gully, and you're completely exhausted. See, normally if you go for a training run around the block, you go, oh, I'm tired now, I've done my 5k, that's good, or I've done my 10k. You can't do that when you're pig hunting. And then you're down the bottom of the gully, and you've run all the way down there, and you've got it, you're absolutely fucked, and then you've got to do battle with it, and stick a knife in it, and make sure you don't get hurt, and then you've got to carry it out. You've got to carry it out of the gully, and it's normally right down the bottom in some shithole. It's like crawling down inside the devil's anus, and you're down there, and you've got to get this thing on your back, and then you've got to lift it all the way back up to the top of the hill. It might take you 3 or 4 hours sometimes, and you're already exhausted and depleted. Now, pig hunting, it is hard yakka, and I get a lot of respect for pig hunters. They're right at the top when it comes to doing the hard. Men and women that go pig hunting, they're doing the hard yards. I got a friend, Kim Swan. She's written, I think, 10 books there she's had published. I've got 2 of them here. And I've been hunting with her. She's fit, she's strong, she's intelligent, and she hunts with bailing dogs. So she's got 2 dogs that will bail rather than whole. So she's sometimes using the knife, but more often she's shooting them. And a lot of people go, that's not like going and sticking it. That's a lot easier. You shoot the pig. Fuck off. I've done both. Give me holding dogs and a knife any day. Whew. Bailing dogs. To go into a loose bail where you've got bushes all around, you can't see where the pig is quite often. It's not like it's all open country. You don't know where it is, and you can hear, hur, 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 and then you can hear the boar. He's grinding his tusks. Why is he doing that? What he's doing is he's sharpening them up on his grinders like this. He's sharpening them up. You hear this? You hear the grinders. You can hear that, literally. He's sharpening those fuckers up to cut you open, to cut up the dogs. He's sharpening. You see them frothing at the mouth, all this white froth coming out, and he's going in there to fuck you up. No, going into a loose bail with a gun waiting to take the shot, that thing is so fast. I've got, on both of my shins, I've got bruises. Years ago, I was hunting with a mate called Monty. He thought it was hilarious. And this boar came, it looked at me, it looked at him, and looked back at me, and it went, yeah, I'm going to take you out. I'm going to fuck you up. And this boar came straight at me. We were hunting on this place, Sam Midgley's property, over Hopeway, and it was the grinders that got me. These 2 things here. He went straight, and both of my shins got smacked, and I went up in the air, and I this is the pig lifting me up. I went up in the air, and I came down on the pig's back. Now that pig, it would have just completely opened me up on the ground if there wasn't dogs there. If I didn't have a backup, it knew dogs were there, and then it legged it. And we've actually got that video on my Clay Tool Stories channel. I think it's called Old Broken Bastard's Boar Hunt, I think. Old Broken Bastard's Boar Hunt. I think that's what it's called, because I had a cold that day, or a flu, and I went hunting. Anyway, pigs and hunting them. We can't show you guys today. Can't show you the whole thing like it used to be. And that's a real sign of our society we're living in today. Wild pigs, they do humongous amount of damage, and if they're not kept in check, man, there's places overseas where they come in the city and they just mess everything up, and they charge people, they hurt animals, they hurt everything. Years ago, there was a lot of wild pigs have come through Nelson City here, and the dog ranger got one in somebody's basement. It was like 170 pound. It was coming in and it was eating the cat food out of little dishes at night when everybody was sleeping. The pigs would come out of the Grampians and the bush at night, and they go through the city, and they'd be like feeding. If they're not kept in check, man, people get really stuffed up by them, mate. They're gonna really mess you up. No, wild boars, they are ferocious, and they don't give a fuck, they've got no morals at all. Some of you that have followed my other channel will often hear me talk about when a boar runs a sow. What's that? Well, you're out there and he knows he's got dogs on his tail. He knows where his girlfriend is because he's been humping her just the night before because she's hogging. That means she's in heat. So he'll run straight to where she is and run right through her and then carry on in the hopes that the dogs pick up her scent and get her and tear her to bits. Or he'll run through a litter of piglets or just another mob. They've got no scruples. And often you also get what I call a satellite boar. That's where you've got two boars together. You'll get one that's a big old sort of one who's been around for a long time, and he'll have an apprenticeship. It'll be a young boar. And that young boar will follow him around and they'll sort of like team up, but he'll think nothing to give up his mate that he's been with day and night. They'll spend weeks together in the mountains and they'll even sleep together to share body temperature. But if that big boar's getting chased, he knows where his mate is. He'll run his mate. He'll give his mate up just like that. They've got no loyalty at all. They got no moral code. They completely just absolutely pigs. Yeah, they're also highly intelligent. A pig is the fourth most intelligent creature on the planet. Isn't that unbelievable? A pig. You got pig, and you got elephant, and you got, I think it's chimpanzee and then dolphin, or it could be dolphin and chimpanzee, and then of course you got man. Although parrots are now starting to come somewhere in there, and so are octopus. There's a few sort of caveats, but that's that generally with mammals, pigs are number 4, elephants number 3. I'm pretty sure it's dolphin then chimpanzee, or it could be chimpanzee dolphin. Don't know. Look it up. Google it. You can Google it fast enough and find out. A bit of useless information. No, they are clever. They're opportunist feeders and they're survivors. And I love chasing after them. I love catching them. I love hunting them. And they're a great resource for teaching young men how to hunt, because you don't need to have a firearm. You just need a handy dog, a GPS tracking gear, or not. Ideally, if you do. I grew up without it. And a good sharp knife. And you've got to be fit. You've got to be prepared to do the hard yards. Anyway, brothers, I thought today I'd talk about something that's interest to us men, and that's hunting. I hope your homework's going well. And if you are struggling out there, try and get out for a hunt. It'll clear your head, get in the bush and go out for a hunt. You'll sort yourself out pretty quick. It's really hard to be worried about your finances or your girlfriend that's left you, or the thing growing on the end of your dick if you're running through the bush 100 mile an hour, gasping for your last breath, trying to get to the bale. It's just good to be out there on the hill. It's natural. Right, I'm going to finish my coffee and get back to work. I'm currently in the part of the house that's a mess. It's the old studio. And one day we're going to make this into a living room. Possibly. It's all about cost. Right now I've got more important things like a 4-bay shed. And I'm still trying to manifest a Toyota Land Cruiser. A V8 Toyota Land Cruiser. I've been trying to manifest one for a long time now. Been dreaming of one my whole life. And I said before I get to 60 I'm going to have a V8 Toyota Land Cruiser. Watch the space. Anything can happen. It'll happen. I don't know how yet, but it's going to happen. Ghost Daddy. I'll see you next Bro Check Club video. See you later.